Impostor syndrome. We've all had our moments, regardless of our gender, our skills, and resume. We all have those moments where we've wondered if we fit the criteria for a role, an opportunity, or a group, even after we're in it. And chances are, if you're entering into a new environment or a new gathering, that imposter syndrome feeling may have to do with that discomfort of a new experience. Hi, I'm Sanyin, and I author the Coaching for the Future Forward Leader column in MIT Sloan Management Review. And I draw on my experiences as an executive coach and advisor to top leaders to answer questions from you and help prepare you to be the best leader that you can be. So, what can we do to minimize imposter syndrome? That feeling that you're not qualified to be in the room. One, recognize that you are in the room. So whatever position or role you now hold, it's yours, and you have a responsibility to do something good with it. And two, while you may not have all the answers, know that is just a matter of time. So if you don't feel qualified, what can you do? What can you learn so that you will feel qualified? Now, what I want to do with you now is shift the perspective a little bit. So let me share a personal story with you. A few years ago, I was invited to a small dinner gathering hosted by Arianna Huffington, and it was in her loft in New York City. I remember at one point, there was a small group standing around chatting, and I joined that group. And that group was led by Katie Couric. And at one point, I felt that I don't quite belong in that group, and I started stepping back. And Katie Couric, without breaking a beat, reached out and took my sleeve and drew me back in. And that was a small gesture, but it was so meaningful because here I was, not feeling like I belonged. And she used her influence to say, through a small gesture, no, you belong here. And I thought, how cool is that? What if I could do that for others? What if I can use my influence in whatever role or position that I'm in? What if part of that responsibility is to help draw others in who may not feel that they belong in the group? Over the years, I've added 3 other practices to that to be able to leverage my role as a leader to help others minimize their imposter syndrome. 1, acknowledge other people's contributions. When people speak up or share new ideas in meetings, recognize their contributions. It takes courage for people to speak up, especially for those who are new to a group. And imagine the last time when you shared a new idea or made a point and it's met with silence. How did you interpret that silence? So turn it around and acknowledge others. When they make a point or bring up a new idea, just say, thank you for sharing that new idea. We haven't thought about that before. Or thank you for bringing up an idea or a thought or a comment that reinforces something that we are thinking about. Simple as that. 2, make good introductions. So introductions shouldn't stop with just a name. When you're introducing someone, assume that others aren't privy to the same knowledge that you have about that person's unique capabilities. Managers and team members can introduce people, especially new ones, with their name and then some comment about the person's strengths or expertise and history. Good introductions can help others know the role played by the person, but they also reinforce the person's sense of self and their value in the organization or on the team or just even in your circle. 3, emphasize superpowers. So what are superpowers? Superpowers are those innate or not easily imitable skills or capabilities that a person has that differentiates them from what others bring to the table. And the very things that a person may gloss over can contribute mightily to the team. So taking the time to acknowledge the superpowers that they have or that they remain too shy to disclose can be incredibly powerful. And The person may not even be aware of their differentiating strengths and contributions. So helping them gain insight into that can help minimize their imposter syndrome. As we think about imposter syndrome and how to minimize it for ourselves, what I've discovered is one of the best antidotes for imposter syndrome, especially for someone in a leadership position, is to build a sense of belonging and community for others. We may not easily control how we feel, but we can always take action to empathize and help minimize that feeling of imposter syndrome for others. And guess what? When you do that for others, you may discover that you have built relationships and allies along the way. By creating connection and fostering inclusion for others, we can also create a greater sense of belonging and confidence for ourselves.